Are you a little bit perplexed about what you should do with your golf swing takeaway? Use the wrist, use the core, use the hips. What should you use to have a good takeaway? So you know that you need to have a plane of swing that is really going to help you kind of keep this, your swing a bit more neutral, all right? That's what you're looking for, neutrality a lot of the time. Any overcompensations are just a little bit harder to repeat. We have to blend the structure with flow and freedom so it feels natural. So it feels as close as we can get to throwing a ball. Okay? Throwing a ball isn't quite as difficult as hitting this club head against this ball to send it off down the fairway, right? Let's just be honest. But we are trying to make it just a little bit more simple for you. So one of the feels I want us to look at today, instead of trying to take away with your wrists, instead of trying to do a really rigid one-piece takeaway here, we're going to solve a couple of things. We're going to focus on a takeaway that is not using the tiny sort of muscles in your body or the feel so much. What we're going to do is actually combine our natural throwing action, throwing something this way, okay? We're going to combine that with the correct action with the arm. In fact, get up out your chair. Have you got up? Good. I want you to stand like this to me now. You don't even need a golf club for this, all right? I want you to tuck in your left arm under your right here, okay? Now I want you to make a nice little sort of takeaway, whatever that means to you. I want you to have a nice little takeaway feel here. But instead of trying to hinge the wrist, instead of trying to turn the hips too much, the only thing I want you to feel is that your arm is doing a little bicep curl here, right? Ever so slightly. When you set up to the ball, we generally want our arm, our elbow pits to be facing up. Be cautious of anything different to that. If your elbows are kind of pointing this way or in, it's going to make a takeaway a lot harder. So stand there. Keep your arms straight out, okay? Just at your side. I want you to turn your hands over. You can even hold them up this way. You can turn the hands over, right? So your palms are facing up. We're going to just turn those hands over to sort of form a grip, all right? But the elbows haven't really moved. And there we can do a bicep curl. We've got that set up. We've got our elbow pits pointing up. And now as we make this sort of move back to throw the club this way, okay, we are going to allow the arms to curl like so. Why is that such a benefit? Well, if you time it with another move I'm going to show you, it is going to make the whole takeaway, the backswing, a piece of cake. You can grab a club if you wish. We've got our setup, okay? We're re-gripping the club, but my elbows are pointing up. So it's easy for me to hinge like so. Now I'm going to form a takeaway where I'm feeling like I am, yes, using momentum, using my feet to keep the club on plane, right? To start that momentum. And the way we're going to really emphasize it is a throwing action, but we have to combine it with a folding of the arm. Now, one of the real benefits of this is to give you width in the swing where you need it the most, because it's not about getting it wide to begin with, because what happens there, we get narrow this way and we form that kind of swing, right? We want to have width where it matters, sort of towards the top of the swing, then as we're delivering back into the ball. If we create all that width there, we've got nowhere to go for that elasticity, and we then sort of end up being a bit narrow or too jammed here. It kind of sucks, or we allow too much arm flex this way. We need to have a bit of structure here, and setting it up to begin with from the takeaway, right, is going to give you that sensation. It's going to give you that structure. So if you notice here, if you zoom in, you'll see that my elbows quite close. I'm not jamming it in, right? I'm not jamming it in here at all. It has freedom, but it's quite close to my rib cage. And then from there, I can extend up and create that width, all right? But all of the time when I'm feeling this movement, I'm not really thinking about anything with the wrist. All I have to do is have suppleness in my wrist. I can really feel the weight of the club. My arms feel heavy. The fluid motion is going to happen if I allow it. So get your address, hold the club upside down as if we're doing that bicep curl, okay? A barbell curl. Take your setup, and now I want you to make a takeaway, but we're going to stop about halfway back here, right? There. That there is one of the most important sort of areas of the swing that if you can sort of repeat with feel, you are going to do so well. Why? Because it's all about getting that club sort of on plane and in a placement that is going to be easy to deliver it back down with the most minimal of movements, but with flow. Notice how I'm not rolling backwards. I'm not trying to whip the hands in. I am winding up just a few inches this way. That's all I'm doing, here to here. And basically from there, that is the swing. But your hips will turn a little bit, the core is going to turn a little bit, but we're winding up, staying a little bit connected, but free flowing. And then you can just keep practicing that as much as you like, okay? It really is transformational for your golf game.